Stay in the know and make your voice heard on different projects happening in your neighborhood and throughout Hillsborough County by visiting Hillsborough County's Engagement Hub, the online home for outreach and listening efforts. From parks and recreation projects to roadway improvement plans, your input plays an important role in shaping the future of Hillsborough County. So make your voice heard by visiting hcflgov.net/hcengage.
Hillsborough County's Customer Service Center makes submitting a service request quick and simple, directly notifying the responsible service team. You can create a user account to make tracking the progress of your service request virtually effortless. Simply click on the appropriate service tab and then select from a list of common requests, or provide a description of any concern that is not listed. Enter the reported address manually to allow us to pinpoint the request. Including specific details and pictures helps guide service providers in fulfilling your request. Creating an account and logging in with your username gives you the ability to track the progress of all your requests to completion. Hillsborough County's customer service requests are just that simple. We're at your service 24/7.
When storms start to blow and danger strikes, we come together to face any challenge as a community. And when trouble hits our county, HCFL Alert is your #1 source for information. HCFL Alert is with you before, during, and after the storm. To sign up, visit hcflgov.net/HCFL Alert so we know how and when to notify you about local emergencies. The safest way through bad weather is together.
Good evening. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Comprehensive Plan Amendment Public Hearing. The Board of County Commissioners will consider the adoption of 2 future land use map amendments to the comprehensive plan. I'll now request the Planning Commission staff begin with the first item on this evening's agenda. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. Bryce Farringer with Planning Commission staff. This is HC CPA 23-13-5223, County Road 579, and I'll be presenting this on behalf of Carla Llanos. This is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment located on approximately 1.66 acres, and the request is to change the future land use designation from residential 4 to residential 9. This is a general location map of the July cycle of plan amendments for the unincorporated Hillsborough County jurisdiction. This site is located within the urban service area and is located within the limits of the Seffner Mango Community Plan. This is an aerial view of the subject site. It's currently vacant and located within a residential area. To the north is a religious institution, and to the east and south is a single-family subdivision. To the west and on the other side of County Road 579 is a mobile home park, duplex dwelling units, and a single-family subdivision. Further south, just past Clay Pit Road, there are 2 county parks. There are other uses nearby not shown on this aerial exhibit, such as the University of Florida Extension Campus to the northeast at County Road 579 and Old Hillsborough Avenue. County Road 579 and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. intersection, there is also a Walmart, a Publix, and a Mango Elementary School. Overall, the area is mostly residential with commercial uses nearby that support the general area. This is the south view in front of the subject site. This is on the other road, the other side of County Road 579, looking at the entrance of the property. This is a view of the subject site from the northwestern boundary. And then this is the western view in front of the property as well. The subject site currently has a future land use designation of residential 4, which is intended for low-density residential development. The category provides for the consideration of residential, suburban scale neighborhood commercial, office uses, and multi-purpose projects. Non-residential uses shall meet locational criteria for specific land use. Agricultural uses may be permitted pursuant to policies in the agricultural objective areas of the future land use element. The applicant is requesting to amend the subject site's future land use category from residential 4 to residential 9. As you can see on the proposed future land use map, County Road 579 is the dividing line between the residential 4 future land use category to the east and the residential 9 future land use category to the west. More future land use categories, such as the office commercial 20 and the residential 20 future land use categories, are located further to the south around the intersection of County Road 579 and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Further north, at the intersection of US Highway 92, is the Community Mixed Use 12 future land use category. Other pockets of residential 9 are observed within the residential 4 future land use category to the east as well. Currently, the residential 4 future land use category allows for residential development of up to 4 dwelling units per gross acre, or a non-residential development potential of up to 0.25 floor area ratio. Residential 9 allows for up to 9 dwelling units per acre and up to a maximum FAR of 0.5. Under this proposed change, the maximum allowable units on the subject site increases from 6 dwelling units to 14 dwelling units, and the commercial or the non-residential development potential increases from approximately 18,000 feet to just over 36,000 feet. Planning Commission staff has reviewed this request for consistency with the unincorporated Hillsborough Comprehensive Plan and has found that the request is consistent with the urban service policy area that provides policy direction for development within the urban service area. The proposed plan amendment is also compatible with the surrounding uses, making it consistent with the neighborhood protection and community planning objectives and policies of the future land use element as well. The proposed plan amendment would increase the allowable density and intensity on the property in a manner that is comparable to the surrounding area. The request is also consistent with policy 12-1.4, as well as the Seffner Mango Community Plan as it applies to the surrounding development and aligns with the overall character of the area. Overall, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is the applicant here?
Yes. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Todd Pressman, 200 2nd Avenue South, number 451 in St. Petersburg. This request comes to you with the Planning Commission staff support. The Planning Commission board voted unanimously in support. Through 2 public hearings, we've had no opposition. We've noticed over 100 people 2 times with a large yellow sign at the site. To walk you through this very quickly, Bryce has done a good job at orienting you to the site. And as you can see in this aerial, there's good buffering to the south, to the east, and also to the north. The church, as I've been out there a number of times, appears to be closed and not operating at the moment. And as Bryce has said, there's different areas of densities, Res 9, Res 12, RDC 12, just a wide variety of housing types in the immediate area, including a 5.2 unit acre density which surrounds us, which was done by a flex, which was permissible in the past. There are a number of other policies that support this, which is including Objective 1.1, support a range of housing options to affordably meet the needs of current future residents, which this would apply to as 14 units on a smaller site. It would direct itself to that type of use, and including the new term of missing middle housing, which this would apply to, and promote residential infill within urban service area for flexible types of development. Expected rents would be about $1,400 a month to $1,900 a month, which again targets right into the missing middle and workforce housing. Another objective of the comp plan is strategically locate housing in conjunction with supportive transportation infrastructure, which this does. Mango Road by itself currently has a capacity of C, but there is a park and ride lot to the south, and there's also a dedicated HART station about 800 feet to the south, which is very walkable as well. So we feel that it is a good, consistent report for you, and the planning staff themselves report that it meets neighborhood protection policies. The density intensities are familiar, if not the same, to the surrounding pattern, is compatible and is supported by the Seffner Mango Community Plan and is located in the USA. So with that, we appreciate your consideration and happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. This public hearing, would anyone like to speak to the item? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion approved by Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Myers. If there are no comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. Next item.
Good evening, Commissioners. Bryce Farringer with Planning Commission staff. This is HC CPA 23-14, 5003 Dover Street. This is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment located on approximately 15.21 acres, and the request is to change the site's future land use designation from light industrial to heavy industrial. This is a general location of the July cycle of map amendments for unincorporated Hillsborough County. This site is located within the limits of the urban service area and the Greater Palm River Community Plan, and it is also located within the coastal high hazard area as well. This is an aerial view of the subject site located on the east side of US Highway 41, south of Madison Avenue, The Tampa service area boundary is marked in blue to the southeast there. According to the Hillsborough County property appraiser, the site currently contains light industrial, heavy industrial, and vacant uses. Heavy industrial and agricultural uses are located east of the subject site. Heavy industrial, light industrial, and public uses are located south. To the west, across US Highway 41, there are light commercial, light industrial, vacant, and public institutional uses. There is a small pocket of heavy commercial uses to the northwest that are adjacent to existing non-conforming single-family detached dwelling units. Light industrial, heavy industrial, and light commercial uses are located north. This is a view of the site's northern parcel looking northwest. This is a view of the subject site looking to the southwest from Dover Street. And then this is a view of the subject site to the east looking from US Highway 41. The subject site currently has a future land use designation of light industrial, which is intended to designate areas of concentrated industrial development that involve processing of non-hazardous and non-toxic materials and create a minimal degree of impact to the surrounding environment in terms of potential leakage of objectionable liquids and gases and levels of noise, vibration, dust, and/or odor. Light industrial extends to the north and south. The heavy industrial future land use designation extends west, northwest, and further north. Natural preservation is located further south and southwest. The area located directly east of the subject site was recently amended from light industrial to heavy industrial through HC CPA 23-06, which is still awaiting its official effective date from the Florida Department of Commerce. The request is to change the subject site's future land use designation to heavy industrial, which is intended to designate areas of industrial development that have a potential to produce the most intense objectionable accompanying effects. The industrial development's normal operation may have an adverse impact on the surrounding environment. However, these effects are reasonably controlled and operated through applicable regulations. The adverse impact could be a result of noise, dust fallout, or air quality and/or odor. Overall, the proposed change would allow for the same maximum intensity of 0.75 FAR and would allow for the introduction of heavy industrial uses to be considered on the site. Residential uses are not allowable for consideration under each of these future land use categories. Planning Commission staff has reviewed this application for consistency with the comprehensive plan and has found it to be consistent with several objectives and policies. The proposed change is consistent with Objective 1 of the future land use element, as it would encourage compatible development within the urban service area. Similarly, the application is consistent with Objective 8 and its associated policies. The proposed change would allow for slightly more intense uses, which is compatible with the surrounding development pattern and neighboring future land use designations as well. These uses would be subject to all comprehensive plan policies and land development regulations, making the application consistent with Objective 9 and its associated policies as well. The application is also consistent with objectives and policies pertaining to economic development, as the proposed change would encourage desirable economic growth within an area that currently utilizes several other light and heavy industrial uses. This would encourage opportunities for compatible business growth in the Greater Palm River area, making the application consistent with the goals and strategies outlined within the Greater Palm River Community Plan as well. Overall, Planning Commission staff recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you. The applicant here.
Thank you, Rebecca Kurt, Brooks and Rocha, 400 North Tampa Street. I'm here tonight representing 3 property owners for 5 parcels totaling approximately 15 acres, requesting to go from light industrial to heavy industrial land use category. Planning Commission staff has given a good job orienting you, and to save time, I'm going to call your attention to this slide, which is approximately 40 acres of light industrial to the east, which was recently approved by this board to heavy industrial. On this slide, you can also see the relationship of our property to the port, and directly to the east of the property that was recently approved for a change to heavy industrial was the CSX railroad line, making this area an area in the county that is particularly appropriate to go to heavy industrial. We are compatible with the existing and surrounding uses, which are generally also industrial uses. I mentioned the proximity to the port and the CSX railways. We are basically sandwiched between two existing areas of heavy industrial. We had no objections from any agencies or any neighbors. We had no requests for any meetings with the neighborhoods. There was a neighborhood meeting with the prior comprehensive plan amendment, and the people who showed up were basically my clients who were looking to also consider heavy industrial for this area. It is consistent with the existing community plan that recognizes and supports the existing port and industrial areas, and we have full support from the Planning Commission staff and full support from the Planning Commission. We respectfully request your approval. I can answer any additional questions you have.
All right, great, thank you. This public hearing, anyone like to speak to the item? If not, can we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Cohen, second Commissioner Owen. If there are no comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right, now if we can have a motion to approve an ordinance for adoption of CPA 2313 and 2314.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.